Stay tuned for a buffoon of the week that you're all very familiar with. Okay, let's just leave it at that for right now. But
okay,
all right, I'm going to start with the first statement of Act 2 here of statements on Mackey and Judd. Some breaking news yesterday from Ramona Shelburne, proving what I've been telling you guys all along: that Karl-Anthony Towns is a gladiator, and you guys never should have doubted his toughness. So
unbelievable.
Okay. So here's the report. Timberwolves star center Karl-Anthony Towns underwent stem cell treatment and platelet-rich plasma injections in both knees, his left ankle, left wrist, and right finger on Friday, sources told ESPN. Didn't Kobe Bryant sort of bring the plasma injections thing into...
He went to Germany, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 15 years ago or something.
I could be completely confusing this, but when Lance Armstrong was coming back from like his testicular cancer bout, wasn't he a stem cell person too?
Probably.
I think he was.
Yes, there was some...
Well,
there's some gray area
that, but
what
yeah.
he was doing, yeah.
He was aerodynamically designed.
The report continues. Cat played through his injuries during the Timberwolves' run to the Western Conference playoffs, decided to get these treatments in the offseason with the hopes of avoiding actual surgery and making a full recovery by training camp. Towns, according to sources, was dealing with pain in both knees, especially his right knee, which he wore a sleeve on during the playoffs. He also had a cyst on his left ankle, a subluxated left wrist. We knew about some of the wrist issues, and ligament damage, and an aggravated joint on the middle finger of his right shooting hand. His girlfriend, Jordan Woods, posted a photo of him recovering from the procedures on her Instagram story on Saturday. So this definitely shines a light on how he felt physically at times last season. I will say this, and people are going to hammer me for this, okay? He played 7 postseason games, 6 against Memphis, and then the play-in game, technically, I think counts, but he was atrocious in 4 of the 7 games, okay? Completely objective here. In the 4 atrocious games, was it due to physical issues that hampered him from being able to play his game? Or was it due to racking up bad fouls, bad charges on offense, getting caught up in emotions and making bad decisions? Did you look at those 4 dud games from him and think, boy, once he gets physically right, it's going to be a different story? Because I think his issues were separate in these dud playoff games from the ailments that he, has been suffering from and deserves to be acknowledged for that. What do you guys think?
I think if you're going to, and this is especially true of the arduous tests that are the NBA and hockey playoffs, I think if you're going to play through problems and pain, then you have made a decision to do so, and you're going to play to the best of your ability. And there is no question in the games that Cat was atrocious. He did not come close to playing to the best of his ability. How do we know that? Because when he did, he was still very good. I really struggle with this thing now of trying to, in hindsight, say, well, he had this wrong, so I really shouldn't have expected as much. A lot of guys play hurt now, and it's a credit to them. They get a lot of treatment. That's awesome. But, can we go through in retrospect with every one of them now and be like, well, if you look at this game, yeah, his wrist hurt. And if you look at that game, his knees hurt. Now, does the fact that he is getting these type of treatments concern me a little bit? Absolutely. These are, again, treatments for problems that might continue to be problems. But it doesn't really change my opinion because of the fact that he played so well in enough games that we know that there was consistently more there. And on a lot of those nights that he was bad, he wasn't just a little bit off. He was really off. So I don't think it dramatically alters how I feel about the fact that when he disappeared, he really disappeared.
So this is the same, the plasma-rich injections, or whatever you want to call them.
This worries me a little bit.
This is what Kobe Bryant had. Kobe was 32 when he had this procedure. I think he was 32 going on to 33, entering sort of the final 5 years of his career. Then he tore his Achilles 2 years later. So this was more of a, Kobe had been playing for 15 years and it was toward the erosion of his knees and stuff. He just needed a boost. And so it does raise questions about because they have to make a decision on whether they want to give him $200 million on a multi-year max extension this summer.
Yeah.
And if he's got issues in both knees, and I think some of this stuff like the finger and the wrist, you hope that some of this stuff just kind of clears up. The knees on a big man are the biggest question, right? You don't see a lot of 7-footers that are playing at a really high level and fully healthy after the age of 30, 31, 32. So it's very interesting. Credit to him for his toughness grinding some of this stuff out. I don't know that it makes me feel better about the 4 dud games when they needed him most, because I didn't watch those games thinking, God, he just can't. Oh man, he can't get to where he wants on the court. That wasn't really the case.
It definitely makes me think more about that contract. Like, is the extension now? Like, is that a, no pun intended, slam dunk now? Or because like when you were talking about stem cell treatments and knees, that doesn't strike me as, well, that's going to fix it. It strikes me as trying to buy time again. So I'm not saying you don't do the contract. I'm saying I think it factors into the thought process of the contract.
Yeah, you have to do the contract, whether you're going to keep him for the entire duration or whatever. Let's throw it to Declan here.
All right. Pat Bev was on, and he's still on it. I'm looking right now as we record this at 11 a.m. that he's still on First Take and Get Up. He's doing the whole ESPN media tour today. So
Car wash.
He called out Chris Paul. He had talked about numerous things. He talked about the Suns mostly, obviously, and the Celtics game and Luka. But here's what he had to say about the Phoenix Suns.
And all of this because this is what the NBA says, and players in the NBA know this. I'm just. My coach used to tell my coach Finch, he told me, I'm just the weatherman. I'm just giving you, letting you know if it's raining or not, brother. Yeah. These are other, I'm not the only one who says this. It's other people, man, what? If I'm playing a game and I'm getting ready for the Phoenix Suns, come on, let's go. If I'm getting a game and I'm getting ready for the Golden State Warriors, I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. I got an early one. I'm just saying, my preparation is very different.
So he also went on to say that numerous players, including himself, Anthony Edwards, they wanted the Phoenix Suns.
Yes.
They wanted the Phoenix Suns. And the entire First Take crew brilliantly broke this down. And JJ Redick even pointed out that the Suns are a little bit of a flawed team in terms of the modern NBA. They don't take a lot of three-pointers. They don't get to the rim a lot. They don't take a lot of free throws. And they're a little bit flawed, even though they had that number 1 seed. They're not as good as I think people think they are. And now the Warriors are back to looking like the Warriors. Luka was phenomenal for Dallas yesterday. And Pat Bev said that we wanted the Suns. Respectfully, I disagree. I understand that the Grizz were this fun team that went back and forth, and Ja was phenomenal until he got hurt in the second round. And I know Phoenix was flawed, as Redick pointed that out. I think if the Wolves got the Suns, it's no different than how the series played out against Memphis. I think it's no different.
Pat Beverley made himself millions of dollars in future TV contract earnings with his appearance so far, 4 hours on Get Up and First Take this morning. He's been amazing. Here's another quote too, because they just kept antagonizing him about Chris Paul. I mean, it's Christmas morning for him. He wakes up after the Suns are down by 45 points in a Game 7, and he gets to crap on Chris Paul again. And at one point he goes, listen, he's continuing this point about how, I know you guys all worship the Suns and they had 60-plus wins, but no one sweats the Suns. In the league, he called Chris Paul a cone at one point defensively. And then he goes, guys, I talk to players in the league. And all due respect, Stephen A., you're not in the locker room. I'm in the locker room. I talk to players in the league. He goes, I talked to a player last night. I won't say who. Screw it. I talked to Paul George last night. No one's scared of Phoenix.
That's great.
So do you think... well, to Declan's comment there too, the fact that the Timberwolves wanted the Suns over the Grizzlies, do you find that to be, would that have been a more favorable matchup now that you've seen the Suns sputter against the Mavericks?
I'm so very conflicted here because one, Pat Bev is great. Like I'm sorry, I love the guy. He's hilarious. He is honest to a fault, but bravo for that. However, I saw the Edwards Instagram last night as well, laughing and sort of clowning the Suns. And I will say this from a Timberwolves perspective. I don't want to hear the Timberwolves as a whole say, we wanted anybody. Like the Pat Bev stuff's great, but hear me out. You became the first team in NBA history to blow 2 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter, and then that wasn't good enough, so you took it to 3. Nobody had done more than one. For the Timberwolves as a whole, and I think more from the Ant thing, but for you to be saying, we wanted Phoenix, we think there's, dudes, you blew monument. In one game, you blew 51 points of lead. So from a team perspective, come on. But from a Pat Bev perspective, I do think it's hilarious.
Well, and yeah, when you look back, Memphis was a very favorable matchup for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, 100%.
They had the series won multiple times over. So,
and you said it at the outset.
But there is something interesting that the Suns take the Suns are a great regular season team because they have a deep bench. It's a great system. They play, right? They're not sitting out. It's not like Kyrie Irving is going to sit out for all the home games because of using vaccinated or whatever. The Suns are putting their players out there on a nightly basis. But it is interesting that 2 years in a row they take these 2-0 leads, and then all of a sudden either Chris Paul starts to look like he's 50 years old, or the opposing team makes an adjustment, and the Suns don't have a counter move. And also, as good and deep as the Suns are, they don't have the best player on the floor in many of these series. They don't have a player better than Giannis or better than Luka. And I would even argue if you start to match them up, Devin Booker's great, but is Devin Booker better than next year's version of Anthony Edwards or a Karl-Anthony Towns that's dialed in and not getting into foul trouble? Chris Paul's 37 years old now. So this was probably it for Phoenix. They'll be a playoff team, but I don't know if they can come back from these two drubbings, blowing 2-0 series leads.
Next time, though, beat the damn Grizz, okay? And then you can talk all you want.
Yeah.
You can talk all you want.
I think he should just keep talking. I don't
I think the Ant thing bugged me more because he was clowning the Suns, and it's like, dude.
Ant wasn't. Well, you're talking about the Instagram post?
Yes, the Instagram post, he clowned the Suns completely. I think that bugged me more because he doesn't really have the credibility yet to do that. Pat Bev just doesn't care, which I just love.
Yeah, he's going to. I could see him on Inside the NBA at some point, for sure. All right, Judd, you're next up here.
All right. My statement is we was robbed in this town. We was robbed. There were 8 first-round NHL playoff series, and 5 of the 8 reached a Game 7. One of the most exciting things in sports, and unlike the NBA on Sunday, all 5 paid it off, including 2 OT games yesterday. Absolutely great. All right. The Avs and Preds was a sweep. That was just a clear-cut Avs kicked ass. That's fine. The Panthers got pushed by the Caps, but ultimately were not a great team. They're a very, very good team. And they won in 6. And you know what? It was a tough 6. Mm-hmm. The only series which just peed down its breezer was the Wild and Blues, in which case we didn't get a competitive Game 6. Starting in the third period of Game 5, it went sideways. We were robbed. We should have had at the X on Sunday a Game 7 that the Wild might not have won, but should have been close, should have been just great. Might have gone to OT, which, yes, is strenuous, but it's fun. And instead, we got the one team that I think in their final game basically just quit. Like everybody else played pretty damn hard. Only one team got clowned in a game to end the series that was actually supposed to be competitive, and that was the Wild against the Blues. That's my statement.
The Dallas goalie had, 60-some saves last night or something?
Jake Ottinger, 64 saves. Lakeville kid.
One of us.
Lakeville guy. He was phenomenal. He was great. Man, was that fun to watch.
Dude, yeah. Get that guy
the
some
Rangers
help, for God's
in
sakes.
OT against the Penguins. That was fun. Like, I can go through the litany. Those 5 games were all really fun.
How long are you going to? Are you essentially going to hold this against the Wild for the foreseeable future? Like I feel like it's going to.
I think I am.
This is almost like the Twins with me. The last time they got bounced.
It's going to fester, not because they lost, but because of how they lost. I am incredibly, incredibly disappointed with how they lost.
Yeah, I still kind of hate the Twins for multiple playoff series losses against the Yankees and the Astros in recent years.
I hate the old team. I don't hate this team, but I'm shocked. I'm shocked at starting in the third period of Game 5. Let me tell you, though, the one positive from 2 days of just basically being in on puck, the one positive, nothing could have made me more pleased than to see the Calgary Flames beat the Stars, not because of Ottinger. He's a great story and probably is a great kid, but sending Ryan Suter home just makes me much happier.
The battle for Alberta.
Yeah. First time since 91. But seeing Suits dispatch, it would have really hurt my heart to see that fraud get to the second round.
And now everyone knows the truth about Ryan.
Exactly.
That audio clip came out last night. All right, you guys ready for a little buffoon of the week here on Mackey and Judd? The buffoon of the week
Never not make me laugh.
is presented by
who could it be?
our friends who are not buffoons at Dennis Kirk. In fact, they're all about helping you ride more, weight less during these summer months. And so whatever you ride, a Harley, Indian, Metric Cruiser, sport bike, you'll find what you need at DennisKirk.com. And remember, they have over 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, free shipping on orders over $89, and rock solid service all around. DennisKirk.com. Ride more, weight less. Okay, the buffoon of the week this week is me, Phil Mackey.
Congratulations.
Macadac. That's right. I'm going to tell you a little
buddy.
story.
Studio audience.
That's right. Let's tell you a little story here. And feel free to chime in here with where did I go wrong? And then to what extent am I screwed now that this has happened? Because we're still kind of in the middle of it. But you guys remember back in February, this is like right after the Super Bowl, we had a little issue with flooding in our basement here in our townhouse. It's like kind of like a 4-level row house townhouse. And the basement level has 2 bedrooms. One is my wife's office and a laundry room. And one night we had a load of laundry going, and I noticed in the adjacent room, which is my wife's office, there was just standing water in the closet that shares a wall on the other side with the laundry room. And it was like leaking into the room. And I was like, oh my God, this is a whole thing. And got an emergency plumber over and realized not only is this, at first I thought, oh, there's a washing machine clog or an issue or something. And it was way worse than that. It was a pipe connected to a septic tank.
Oh.
Again, this is 3 months ago.
Right.
And so this wound up being like a 1-month fiasco where the issue was something to do with the septic alarm was broken. And so usually when the water reaches a certain point, if there's a problem, it triggers the alarm. Well, the alarm was broken. And so it just like, I don't know, we've only lived here for a year. The place was built 15 years ago. So I don't know if there was like backup or what. But anyways, that took like a month to repair. And they literally had to knock out the walls. They had to bring in the emergency, flood and fire recovery team, dehumidifiers. They redid carpet, walls, everything. It was a whole thing. All right. And because it was an issue with septic tank alarm, it wasn't we didn't do anything. It just,
Right.
So just kind of sucks to be a landlord in that situation. Mm-hmm. So anyways, all right, we continue on with our lives. Everything's back in order. And there are still a few things to be hung back up on the wall down there that I had been procrastinating, a couple shelves and stuff. So I went down there yesterday thinking, okay, my wife's out running a couple errands for us. I want her to come back, and I want her office to be back like exactly the way that it was. There's a couple little things that just need to be hung up on the wall with small nails, right? So I grab my hammer, and I've got this shelf up. I'm holding the shelf up kind of with one arm, and I've got the nail in, and I start banging the nail back in. And by the way, I'm banging the nail back in pretty close to where the old nail was. I can kind of see where they patched the old nail hole when they redid the rest of the wall. Sure. And so I'm pounding it in, and it hits something. And sometimes, I don't know if you guys ever have this issue where there might be like sheet metal or something, or there's different things that you could potentially hit, right? I'm not the handiest guy, so what do I know? Right. So I feel that the nail hit some resistance of some kind.
Oh no.
And so this is 6 feet above. I should specify. The issue from 3 months ago was sort of a ground level issue. It was water bubbling up from the ground. This was like I'm pounding a nail in like 6 feet above the ground. Okay. Mm-hmm. It hit something, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'll just pull the nail out and try a different spot. I pull the nail out, and water comes spraying out of the nail hole, just shooting literally right at my head, just spraying at me.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to process. I spend like 10 or 20 seconds processing. Whoa, what's happening? Okay, I drove a nail through a pipe. What is this? Okay, I got and I had a load of laundry going. So I'm like, okay, I don't know. Maybe this is like connected to the wash machine. So I put my thumb on it at first which wasn't going to help anything. Like, I'll put my thumb on it just to figure out what's happening. Of course, you take your thumb away and it's still spraying out at you. And then I realized the familiar scent of the water. It wasn't.
Oh no!
It wasn't just water from the washing machine. It was septic smelling water.
Oh God, no!
Like 3 months ago. And so my heart is racing. I'm home alone trying to figure out. Okay, I grab a wastebasket and a bunch of towels and eventually a plastic bag just to like try and protect the carpet. And I call. My first call was to emergency plumber because, like, we got to get someone out here. Well, of course, they couldn't come by for like 5 hours. And so, anyways, long story as short as possible, I pounded a nail into, and I don't know where these pipes are running. So this pipe was pressed right up against the drywall. There was nothing protecting it. It's a plastic pipe, and I don't know. This is where I got to figure out, like, with insurance company and stuff. Ultimately, it's my screw up because I drove a nail through a pipe of a house that I don't own. And so it's probably just going to be on us. But I feel like you shouldn't have important pipes like that right next to like pressed up against a half inch of drywall so that anyone could, if you're hanging something, literally anything would pierce it, I would think. And so the guy comes over and fixes this stuff. But there's still there's going to have to be someone to come over and check out how damaged is the carpet? Are they going to have to go back
into the wall now again? Are they going to have to cut that part? I mean, are they going to have to get at that?
No.
Oh, cripes.
And this one, as of right now, this is not like an issue of, it's something wrong with ours. This is, I drove a nail into a pipe. And so this one, I think this one's on me.
This is, I mean, I have hung a ton of pictures and stuff. I've never even thought of this.
Yeah.
Neither have I. 20 years.
I'd love to say you're just a moron, but I've never. I've done exactly this, and like sometimes there's like the nail will hit a bigger piece of wood in the wall, something like that.
Yeah,
a stud. Yeah, but I mean, I hate stuff. Yeah, but I mean, and I don't know. As has been made clear, I don't know a damn thing about this stuff, but I have never even given the thought when I've been hanging a picture that there could be plumbing in the wall. Like I always thought it ran.
Well, there's always piping that goes. If you have a multi-level house, like piping, of course, goes.
I guess, but I was going to say I wouldn't have thought. But in full disclosure, I wouldn't have thought of it.
Yeah, and I didn't either. And so I'm sitting there like, okay, is this normal? Like, is this? Have I just been lucky for like 16 years of pounding things into walls? You learned a great lesson. You learned an incredibly, I think the most valuable part of this is very simple. Two-sided sticky tape.
And that is, no. That is this one. When you're going to do something for your wife,
my wife.
I mean, we love our wives, Phil, dearly, right? You have to decide if something goes wrong, is it worth the scrutiny that you're going to get when you weigh it against the surprise of, oh, I love this, thank you so much.
Well, I'm not getting scrutiny because, like, I'm not like I already feel awful and it's super. I mean, it's like super expensive.
Yeah,
like thousands of dollars.
I'd be in trouble. Full disclosure, because she'd be like, "You're a moron."
Why would you not use a thumbtack?
Why did you think that you could do this?
Well, but like people hang. There's this thing like
I know
people hang stuff on walls. And we've been using thumbtacks and double-sided tape for everything we can. But, there's 10% of any that it's either too heavy or too big or something.
It's a shelf,
it's a
right?
shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you could. Yeah, no, I think you have to.
So I would be curious if any listeners have any similar experiences. And again, we rent this place. So it's a different ball game when you rent the place. And there's probably things I have to go read through the lease and stuff. But, dude, it is. And then I'm sitting there with just
awful.
I'm trying to plug this hole. And then even when I'm not, this water, which is disgusting, is just spraying on me. And so I'm wiping myself off with wipes and shower and stuff. Threw away all my clothes. It is
so did you just
nightmare.
turn it off eventually, or how did you stop the actual
So
spray?
I shut off the laundry machine, which I think was, triggering in that part of the house anyways, the water flow. And then I shut off the main water line, which is in the garage. I shut those off so that there was no water in the house, period, for like 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then the guy came by and cut out a chunk of the wall and fixed the piping, and he gave me the receipt, and I was like, "Come again?" I said, "So are you going to repair that?" He goes, "Oh no, that's going to be somebody else." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh crap.
Oh, that's plumbers, man.
So
That's plumbers.
So he did his thing.
I
And
can't
so
do
now
that.
there needs to be someone needs to come out and do an assessment, and which costs money, of what the real damage is, and then the next person's going to come over and do some sort of actual repair. And I'm kind of hoping. So last time it was fully flooded. This wasn't fully flooded. And again, I don't know anything. I'm kind of hoping that, is there just something antibacterial that you can pour on that part of the carpet, which is maybe like, the edge of the wall 6 inches out and maybe a foot across? Or does it mean the whole room has to be recarpeted now? Because you can't just like put a new patch of
Does it smell?
the whole room. Not really, but it's still like the bacteria, it's septic water. It's like the bacteria still needs to be cleaned up.
Oh God, dude.
I bet there's something strong though, because it's not the whole carpet. There's got to be some
Fingers
type
are
of
crossed.
and just like take something big and put it on that piece of carpet then too. So like
Like
you
what-
sort of know it's there.
Well,
Like a
we're not going
piece
to. We're
of
just
furniture.
Well, yeah, we're
just
going to
cover
keep
it
the,
up.
like long term. That's your
Cover it up
solution?
long. Well, no, I'm saying
Stuff
get
on
some
there.
type of disinfectant and then take something big and stick it on there, and you'll forget all about it.
Maybe that
Seems like a lot to redo that. It seems like a lot to
my
reinstall
God.
carpet again.
Well, yeah. If it's up to me, I'd rather why don't you just rip the carpet up and leave it concrete till we move out? And then, but either way, like we're gonna. I think.
I don't know.
And this is my biggest question: is what am I on the hook for here? Is there any
Right.
sort of argument that?
You
Why
kinda-
is there a pipe of that importance level sitting that close on?
Sounds like an
It's literally
endorsement
like
to
a
me.
half inch of drywall, and then this pipe that's plastic. It's not a metal pipe. It's a plastic pipe, and like a small nail pierced it. This is fine. Well, so I need help from a listener.
Phil here for renters' rights. That's right. You have rights too as a renter. Nobody knows better than me.
Oh, bad.
Call now.
So
Wow.
there's the buffoon of the week.
That
is
sucks.
Me for
I feel
driving
for
a
you.
nail into a septic pipe. Yeah. All
I
right.
could have done the same thing.
I'm actually kind of surprised that. Well, but you don't take chances, and by chances I mean you don't hang things on walls. You just
You know, I've
just kind of avoid.
hung things on walls in my office when I redid it a little bit a couple months ago or 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, beyond that, and like if Dawn has a room, I ain't gonna do a thing to it. The only thing I do is like occasionally dust it for her or something. I ain't gonna be hanging.
Husband
nothing
of the
in her
year right
room.
here. Husband.
I'm
of the
not
year.
gonna be hanging
That's all good.
anything in her. If it involves handyman stuff,
I'm out.
I'm not helping her.
I'm out too.
Like
But
I'll,
hanging
like
a
if she
picture
tells me what to
isn't
do.
handyman
Yeah,
stuff.
no, that's what I'm saying. I could have easily done that. Yeah, I mean,
I
That's
tried.
a
I
Think,
tried to
that
hang
think
it.
sucks.
twice. Live in fear every time you think about driving a nail.
Well, now
into
I
a
will.
wall.
You just brought up a scenario that in my wildest dreams I had never considered.
It never
Never.
occurred. And when I pulled the nail out,
Never.
even as water sprayed out of it for like 5 or 10 seconds, I didn't know what was. I was like, wait a second. I've driven thousands of nails into walls. Like I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And I did. I was talking to my landlord, and we're kind of. We haven't quite gotten to the who owes what situation
Gonna
here.
get contentious.
But obviously, like I had to explain what happened, which is me driving a nail into the wall. And he goes, I was kind of bitching about the proximity of the pipe and the importance
Yeah.
of the pipe. And he goes, I think you just got really unlucky. And I'm like, well, but isn't there some way? Like, I don't know.
Unlucky.
It's ridiculous. Anyhow. All right. Buffoon of the week.
Dex, you got anything?
Oh, dude, I have nothing, no home improvement skills. I'm worried about bathrooms and which one you go into, which one you shouldn't go into. I mean, you're buffoon of the week, 1A by far, and I'm a very just tiny little subplot in the buffoon of the week for my.
I think you should have told the old gal, hey, buzz off, lady. I'm going back. I'm drunk.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
Buzz
talking about
off.
me with the.
Oh,
No,
Or the
not
landlord,
you.
yeah.
No, not you.
Or the plumber.
No.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. That's a wrap. Mackie and Judd here are going to go try and get our
We got problems.
bleep together. We'll see you guys on Purple Daily.